in the upper left. He is taking down special to get here. Precise Storm, MAXPAX. His opponent taking down a murderer's row of Clem, Cure, and Dark. He is for Alpha X, Astrea. Man, I'm so sad that this run in particular is not the finals of an offline event. I want to be sitting there. I want to be the guy that does what I just did, introducing the players. For Astrea in the grand finals, after he has in the semis taken down Cure in an epic best of 5, best of 7, after taking down Dark in the round of 8 maybe, just doing this insane run. And now with a live crowd behind me, just the murderer's row, just having people go insane and then to go to a 7-game series. That is the dream that I have. I don't know how accurate that dream is, but we all know the storyline is what's important. Yeah, good games are good, but what turns a good game into a great game? The storyline of the game itself and of what brought it there. Think about Scarlet Bomber. Not only was it, an insane army trade at the end of the game with burrowed banelings, which we really didn't see a lot of at the time, but it was one of the best Korean Terrans in foreign events versus the North American Hope. It was on Habitation Station, which was this map that was intensely Terran favored because they could just lift their main base to the gold and start to hit these really powerful pushes. All of those things. You had the storyline of Scarlet coming back from a stint in Korea, and this was one of her first tournaments back, and she'd leveled up her Mutamicro to the extreme. You had Scarlet and Bomber's history, as they always played fairly decent series, but Scarlet didn't tend to beat them, even if the games were good. All of that brought together to say, wow, that was one of the greatest series of all time played to StarCraft. Well, in this tournament here, Astrea has the story. This is the best I have seen Astrea play, at least in terms of results, in a good long time here. Astrea is going to get the probe. The probe is dead. Long lived the probe. But of course, folks, this is Curious Minds. MAXPAX has gone for a single gate expand, so has Astrea, but the difference is, first of all, Astrea, where's the Zealot? Yeah, he ran it across, so MAXPAX was able to avoid that one. But Astrea gets a Zealot out, which means realistically, he should take the... Astrea should not lose this Stalker. Astrea? No, you can't do that. If you're gonna skip the adapt, you're gonna go to a Stalker like that. You cannot go on and lose your Stalker. It makes this game so hard now. So stupidly hard for Astrea. Like, the Gateway gets depowered. He almost loses a Sentry. A lot of energy in the main base has to get used. So yeah, now sure, this has been cleaned up. But now the Oracle arrives, and the Oracle kills both of these units, which means the probes have to run back into the main base. They're still going to take some damage as the Stalker runs on over. Yeah, there is a hallucinated unit, but that doesn't really matter. Also, look at the energy on the shield battery. It's not as high as it should be, and Oracles can punch through that anyway, so the shield battery is really only going to keep one probe alive. Do we have energy for an overcharge? We do not. The Oracle is finding so much value, and the Stalker in the natural, yeah, there's two. Astrea was able to warp stuff in, but this game is just about over. And I hate to say that this early, but Astrea got greedy. He forgot to micro his Stalker. And this is just about it. This is so hard for Astrea to come back from now. He's down 7 workers. He's lost more units. He's lost 17 units to 4. And now, sure, the Oracle will go down, and that's not exactly what you want from MAXPAX, but the world is at MAXPAX's oyster. Astrea forgetting to micro that Stalker has insanely snowballed this game. Now Oracle looks to dive on in once again, but 2 Stalkers are here, and then we'll be able to keep things back for the moment. Astrea's blink is faster, so theoretically, Astrea can maybe make something happen with that, but MAXPAX is buttoned up. He's buttoned up hard. And we're going to have to see what Astrea can do to fight his way back into this game, because I try not to be that casty that says, well, the game's over. But I struggle to find a way for Astrea to find his way back in this game. Now, if he's able to cancel the third base, that's a start. And he will be able to get the Stalker as he blinks on top of it. MAXPAX got a little bit of a surround, though, and the Stalker doesn't go down. A probe does, sure, but there we go. Now there's a dead Stalker. Astrea playing on the edge of things, flirting with death with that other Stalker. But now Adepts are going to look to run on in. And we're going to see Astrea try to force a counter or some significant multitasking out of his opponent. Adepts are going to look to shade on into the natural as he puts pressure on the third base. And we actually don't have a wall here right now. So Adepts are going to shade on in. Astrea will force MAXPAX to react. That blink is not yet done, so a couple probes are going to start to go down here pretty quickly. One Stalker warps on in, and by the way, the Stalkers of MAXPAX, or excuse me, the Stalkers of Astrea, they're already back home. So, what did that get? It got 6 probes. It equalized the worker count. That is something, but ooh, MAXPAX going Dark Templar. MAXPAX going DTs in this game is actually kind of interesting. I don't think that's necessary. I think if MAXPAX just kind of went for a standard build, he'd be in a good spot. Now Stalkers blink forward. The Stalkers of MAXPAX don't really get what they're looking for. And then MAXPAX putting a little bit of a pressure on, but really this game is kind of equalizing here. Yeah, MAXPAX is his third base just a little bit faster, but not too much. And Adepts are going to warp or going to shade on in. There are 2 Stalkers here, so they're going to be able to clean things up eventually, but not before 2, 3, 4 workers go down. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there we go. 4 or 5. It should be 4. 4 workers go down. Astrea now taking a little bit of a worker lead. In fact, technically his tech is better. He's got Immortals. Coupled with these Blink Stalkers, MAXPAX is going to struggle to really punch through. Yeah, there are less Stalkers for Astrea, but Immortals are a powerful thing, especially with the shield battery overcharged behind them. But the Stalkers, they blink on in. They say, nuts to the shield battery. That doesn't need to happen anymore, but now the Stalkers will return. There are 2 Immortals here. Stalkers trying to knock the first Immortal down, but they're going to overcommit just a little bit. Astrea's blinks are rather nice, and now he finds himself up a little bit. Army Supply, he blinks on forward, but DTs are on the way. Dark Templar getting warped in now. What is the detection state for Astrea here? The answer, not yet, but soon. First observer out on the map right now. MAXPAX looking to maraud on the left, force Astrea's attention away, but there we go. MAXPAX, he will be found on out here. DTs are not going to be, oh, actually, I'm sorry. They will be able to punch their way on in through the Stalker. Now there's only 1 observer. So DT in the main base, DT in the natural, going to try to cut down a metric ton of workers here. DT in the natural doesn't look like it got too much done, but in the main base, though, that's 3 workers down already. And Astrea's a little bit slow on reacting, did not quite pull the boys. Although, can we ascribe gender to robots? Don't really know on that one. It's not my degree of specialty. But the DT is still there. Observer is going to be a little bit slow. This DT will die. But that's a lot more workers going down. 20 probes. 20 probes hitting the deck. So we were talking about how, well, this game doesn't feel all that terrible for Astrea anymore. He's got detection where he needs to be. He is holding well. His supply is in a good spot. He's actually up a worker. And then DTs run into his base and they kill 10 more workers. And suddenly it's like, well, isn't that the way it blows sometimes? You do this great comeback, but you don't quite get there. And then you get cut off at the knees once again. Now, the Warp Prism, oh, that's going to be a nice find here. Warp Prism will go down, but this buys MAXPAX maybe a little bit of room to find his way on into the third base. He's going to target down the Stalkers as they warp on in. He's 1-tap potential on that one. But Astrea playing Twinkle Toes with things. He's going to dance out of the way. The Stalkers blinking backwards. Astrea will say, okay, well, that was 2 Stalkers, but I got an Observer, and I got your Warp Prism, and I got to sell it. That's pretty equitable, actually. Is a +1 on the way for both sides. Astrea, his 4th base is, in fact, a little bit faster. But you got a fight here happening on the north side, maybe hoping to catch MAXPAX off guard just a little bit. Will not be able to do so. But as we look at what the future holds here, the big deal is the fact that Zealot charge is about halfway, or actually just about almost done for MAXPAX. Astrea, he doesn't even have it. And that's where the big damage comes on. And yeah, sure, there's a Dark Shrine on the way, but you get a bunch of Zealots here for MAXPAX, and it's going to be difficult for Astrea to defend. So now the army looking to move on forward. Astrea, he's on the left side. He's going to lose a probe here, but he should be able to get a decent concave. And again, with the Immortals, or the single immortal now, he should be fine. He's actually up 10 army supply. And maybe this is a situation where MAXPAX has to be a little bit careful. MAXPAX, if he commits a little bit too hard into the superior army that his opponent has, he can very easily be snowballed on the other side. This is Curious Minds. This is a rather short map. But DT's running south. Astrea's DT's running north. Both players, again, the fourth base. It's done now. MAXPAX on the north side. And it's funny. As good as the supply for Astrea looks, for example, is it feels like he's kind of doing a good job of staying in this game. The map control that MAXPAX has is really, really damn good here. As now Disruptor Shot's going to go on in. Astrea will blink on back, and the DTs will be defended. Okay, so the DTs of MAXPAX on the left side are not going to get anything done. Astrea warping in more and more stalkers, but he is rather short on tech. We talked about charge being done for MAXPAX and not for Astrea. Now also there are disruptors on the field. It was single robo, but a second one coming on in rather soon. So Astrea, oh, there's a free disruptor or two if he's able to find it, but it looks like he will not be able to do so. But Astrea in this game, it feels like he has to play a game of, ooh, be very careful there. Astrea's gonna, oh, gonna kill the two disruptors, but wants to be careful. As now the army of MAXPAX moving in onto this fourth base here. Shield battery overcharge is popped. We're gonna see the observer go down, cannon going down as well, which means DTs are going to be a threat here, but now Stalker's blinking on forward. Astrea, he's gonna force MAXPAX to blink backwards, and this is a really nice concave here for Astrea moving on in, but he doesn't have an observer, so he cannot knock down the detection of his opponent. But still, actually a fairly nice trade here for Astrea moving forward. Disruptor shots are gonna cause a little bit of a problem, so he's gotta back up. And oh, I'm sorry, just lots of blink DTs on the north side. There's detection here, but still a lot of blink DTs. They will kill these stalkers with that micro. And Astrea, he's focusing on the other side of the map here. Oh, he says, well, actually, I don't really care if I go and I lose a little bit of stuff in my natural because I'm going to win this fight. Astrea now looking to blink on forward on top of the disruptor, but no, he's distracted on the other side. Probes getting pulled. Stalkers are starting to die. The DTs find so much value, and 2 DTs into the main base, but there's a cannon, so it looks like Astrea is not going to take too much of it damage, but he will lose this forge. And now Astrea looking to move on, and you got to be careful with his blink though, because there are disruptors on 2 sides. And this, okay, shield battery is going to heal it, so this base, or excuse me, this forge will survive. DTs in the third base will go down. MAXPAX will be able to blink on backwards. Disruptor shots don't land, and Astrea, he weathers the storm. It's funny, this game has felt so MAXPAX favored over the last 13 minutes, but then you look at the resources lost, and it says actually MAXPAX has lost about 3,000 more resources. Somehow, every fight feels like it doesn't go Astrea's way, but apparently they have. And now Astrea, he feels safe to be out on the map once again. This DT, there's actually no detection with this army. Although DT's kind of stuck for now, so that's a bit annoying. Astrea gonna find a significant amount of probes blinking in, but oh, that's you gotta be careful on that blink though. The disruptor shot's gonna find their way, but there's not gonna get much of anything. Astrea's gonna be able to blink everything. He's gonna find this fifth base. It's gonna go down. But the one thing we have to remember, folks, this is an army that is just blink stalkers. One mistake, one false move, and Astrea can find himself in a tremendously problematic situation. Disruptor shots, DTs, whatever you want, zealots, they can cause significant problems. So now Astrea is going to try to find the zealots that they run on into his third base. He's kind of backed into a corner, but he does have cannons. His shield battery is keeping this army alive. The zealots being dealt with as well, but Astrea losing some workers as the DTs are going to try to blink on top of this base, kill it off. But Astrea, again, he wins another fight. Certainly he does now as he blinks on top of these stalkers, but he's got to be careful of the disruptors moving on in. Astrea, does he have the blink? No, he doesn't! And he loses so many stalkers. But actually that went well for MAXPAX. You just look at the supplier, he's moving on in. The DTs do not find the value they're looking for, and that felt so bad. Astrea lost so many stalkers, but in the exchange, I guess it worked out. And now Astrea's plays +3 is going to be done rather soon. Gently blinking backwards, letting the zealots aggro on, but not fighting the stalkers. I don't know how Astrea is doing it in this game, but he's just winning the game with pure blink stalker, which is not how this game is supposed to go. Realistically, DTs are going to find their way into the third base. Astrea blinks forward, kills a disruptor, moves backwards, waits for his blink off cooldown once again. Maybe that's going to be another dead disruptor. Yes, it is. One stalker blinks forward, getting high ground vision, and he will force MAXPAX back once again. Now, disruptor shot will keep him zoned out. And DTs, again, are going to try to find their way into this base. But Astrea's map control is so damn good. I mean, I keep talking about it. Wow, Astrea's really good. But everything I know about PvP says this should not be working for Astrea. Especially against MAXPAX, who is, again, the best PvP in Europe. And some of this may well be server advantage. But I really don't think that tells the story here, as now Astrea, again, he's got to be careful about the fight. Every fight he takes, he has to be extremely careful about what he's doing. As now the Stalkers and MAXPAX are going to look to blink on into the third base, knocking down the cannons. But there we go. One disruptor goes down. Second one disruptor goes down. Astrea, he's got the concave coming on in from every side. Stalkers blink on forward. Astrea, he's up an upgrade. He's up 20 army supply. He's got the surround. Astrea, he's making this comeback happen from the damage in the early game. Now he's going to force MAXPAX back. Now, finally, this advantage from so long ago, or that he's been building for so long, is finally going to show. It's a 30 army supply lead. He capitalizes on it, and he's going to be able to take out a base now, maybe. He's going to be able to force MAXPAX into another bad trade. The detection will go down, so defensive DTs are always an option, but this base is dead. MAXPAX, he's now down a base. The DTs, again, they failed to find the value that they're looking for. And Astrea is just a god. He's channeled... It feels like we see so many players right now who are really just leveling up. Gumiho, Classic, Hero, Astrea, Special. All these players that, I don't know, maybe didn't have the best showing at Katowice, didn't qualify for Katowice at all. But over the last several weeks, and maybe it's the season's getting started soon, really it has felt like these players have really leveled on up. And now Astrea, he's got 40, he's up 40 army supply Stalkers. He's going to be able to get on top of the long distance findings of MAXPAX here. And MAXPAX kind of going for base trade. But I don't know that he can fight the Stalkers on the other side either. Yeah, sure, it's equal upgrades now, so we're going to see this Robo die. Less disruptors here. Stalkers warp on in. MAXPAX, he's got to respond to this, but Astrea just blinks out. So DT's in the natural now. It feels like we're seeing the story of MAXPAX moves in. DT will be able to blink back into the main. MAXPAX, he moves on in. He kills a cannon, but he loses his DTs, and by the next time the DTs are the next time the DTs are ready, the cannon is back up. And Astrea, he takes game one. What a damn comeback. All right, so what happens in game the second? Game one, we saw, realistically, I thought Astrea was dead. He lost the Stalker to not microing, which was a problem. And then he lost workers. He had to pull workers. The Oracle dives in. It kills off the Sentry. It kills off the Stalker that are both very low. It kills, what was it, 13 workers? And you're like, how in the world does Astrea find his way back in this game? And I truly do think it was because we saw MAXPAX go and go straight into DTs. Try to get a little bit fancy with it. He opened the door for Astrea to come back in. Now, if MAXPAX had just gone blink into charge, maybe blink into charge, let Archon, blink Stalker Disruptor, just your standard army, capitalized on that position, taking his third base at a decent time. All of these things would have absolutely. I think he wins if he does that. We're gonna have to find out, because game two is gonna be a little bit faster. Game one, I thought it was over in the first 5 units. Game two, it will be over much sooner, because this is a 3-gate coming on in from Astrea in... there's a proxy Robo. So this should be 3-gate Robo coming on in from Astrea in this game number 2. Certainly something that feels like it's opened up a little more common now that, well, the 2-gate expands on the high ground are a thing, which is kind of funny, because you would have thought that proxy Robo would have been good against, say, 1-gate expands, but because it is so often Stargate play, where the Void Rays pop out, and hey, Immortals, they don't shoot up. Void Rays do a great job of targeting things like Stalkers down, or like Warp Prisms down. It does kind of mean that it doesn't really work out all that well for anything. Is now MAXPAX, he's gonna find the probe. Oh, and he gets the Robo as well, which means he's got high ground vision, which means this pylon will die before the Immortal pops on out. So we're gonna have to see a second probe run out on the map here, build a pylon. This is a significant damper on Astrea's hopes and dreams, and we're gonna see a wall on the high ground as well. But now the Stalkers of Astrea, they will move forward, but it's still gonna be 4 Stalkers to 2. This is a problem for Astrea, and make no mistake about it. Adepts are going to look to shade on out, and the Stalkers, they're going to try to kill this Robo. This Robo may very well likely go down, and we talked about the game going quickly. Maybe Astrea is going to be able to take a 2-0 lead. Well, MAXPAX has 4 Stalkers out to the 2 of his opponent. The Immortal should pop out, and actually the Immortal will allow this to stabilize. With the 1 Stalker here, we're going to see Astrea play Ringer on the Rosie, but now the Immortal is here, and Immortals do tremendous damage to Stalkers, so it's going to be 2 Stalkers going down to 2. Those Immortals 3-shot things. But MAXPAX, you got a Stargate on the high ground. Void Rays are going to be the way of the game, and losing, what was that, 1 Stalker early? Losing that 1 Stalker is kind of actually Astrea may be dead here. The Oracle is looking to dive on in before the shield battery completes, but actually, okay, shield battery will complete in time. But you can just kind of do the damage. You actually, it's 6 or 7 ticks, but you are able to punch right on through things. Shield battery overcharge actually popped rather early here because Astrea wants to just have that peace of mind as he looks to push on through, but it's only 3 Stalkers right here. You kind of need more as the Void Ray is available. 3 more Stalkers warping on in. Astrea, he has the army supply lead, but there are 2 shield batteries here. We're going to see 1 Stalker go down very quickly, though. Nice save on the low one, and it's only 1 Void Ray for the moment, so everything going bad for Astrea right now, sure, but he still has an opportunity to punch on through. Again, good blink micro here from Astrea to keep things alive. Shield batteries are running out of energy, and Stalkers have not died thus far. Shield battery overcharge running out of time, but a second Void Ray arrives rather soon, and this is going to be where things get maybe a little bit more complicated here. Now the Oracle is not able to fly in, but Astrea did have to spend a warp in at home, which means it's not going to be Stalker moving on in, but look at this. Look at this. The Warp Prism's here. It's not Blink, but it's close enough. Astrea is going to start to ferry sentries, most importantly, on in, and he's going to wall off the main base. You gotta actually, that's a missed force field. Never mind. Astrea tried a cool thing, but unfortunately for him, he missed the force field. They were not moved where they needed to be. Even sectioning off half the army would have been fantastic. With Immortals and Stalkers, it would have been great. But now the army's going to run on forward. Sentry will go down, but honestly, you're kind of okay with losing the Sentry so long as you don't lose your Stalkers, because that's what you need to make this push really happen here. As more and more Stalkers, they warp on in. Sentry will get targeted down. That's dead. Force field's not really going to do all that much here for Astrea right now. Again, really good saves on things. He's only lost the 1 Stalker from the start of this, which is legitimately crazy considering how much DPS is in this army, but now he's going to start to move on forward once again. We're going to see finally some Stalkers go on down here as the prismatic alignment is popped with shield battery overcharge as well. This is MAXPAX's attempt to break out of here, and Astrea does not get the Void Ray. But now shield battery overcharge mostly done. Again, the shield battery's out of energy. If there ever was a time that Astrea was going to be able to punch on through, it is right here, right now. But the Stalkers are falling faster than the Void Rays are. And MAXPAX, he ties it up. Spawning in the bottom right in the red here. Taking game number 2 because his opponent's all in really did not work. Precise Storm, it's MAXPAX. His opponent in the bottom left in the blue. He's doing something cheeky once again in game 2. For Alpha X, Astrea. And would you look at that? 2 eyes in the middle of the map. 2 eyes looking to pierce straight into MAXPAX's soul, looking to punish the fact that this is a 1-gate expand map, and Void Rays are not as good. Stargate holds are not as good as they once were. It still worked out for MAXPAX in that game, but that was because the push was delayed. The 3-gate robo was delayed, not properly placed maybe. Now, Astrea will get scouted in the main base. MAXPAX is going to say, okay, your pylon's just finishing right now. I don't see any gateway. I don't see any cybercore. You are proxying me. I don't know exactly what it is just yet, but I know you're doing shenanigans. And is that that may be a full wall? I'm not totally sure, but he's going for a 2-gate hold here. Is MAXPAX. He's not going for a Stargate hold because realistically against these really early committed pressures, it's not all that great. And that is not a full wall. So now we're going to see MAXPAX marauding out forward just a little bit, saying, hey, can I catch something? but it's two Zealots. Oh, and he's got the inside track. Two here. Is Astrea going to be able to block? Yeah, he's going to be able to block out the wall. But there is a pylon going on down. Astrea, though, he's building his own pylons. He says, well, if you can do that, I can do that too. My shield batteries are going to be just as good as yours. Now, the one downside is the Zealot is not doing the best job of punching on through this, and Astrea is actually going to lose his. So, one Zealot going down, two low Zealots here for MAXPAX. In fact, yeah, okay, so there we go. The Zealots are now just going to look to crunch on through things. One on the gateway, one on the pylon. Shield batteries will pump out rather soon, but Stalkers are already done here. And with the shield battery popping out, it should be able to keep the pylon alive if you target it, if the pit gets targeted. There we go. Actually, it doesn't even have to target it because the Zealots return. They're full shields now. There's an Adept out sure here for Astrea, but it is actually taking damage. And sure, the Zealots and MAXPAX are going down. And that's annoying. And actually, shield battery overcharge, or shield battery has spent its energy, so now the Adept and the Stalker, they're going to find their way on in, but it's a single Adept and a single Zealot. That's not really what Astrea wants. The Stalker tries to find its way on in now. So what do we got, actually? That's the big question. It's two Stalkers, one Adept versus one Stalker, one Adept, one Zealot here. And Astrea will be able to kill off one unit. He will be able to kill off one probe in this game. But it's three Stalkers to one, and sure, this Zealot's being kept alive by shield batteries, but it's gonna go down eventually. And while this is a 2-gate, and technically MAXPAX or Astrea should have had the advantage in terms of production, he really does not now, because MAXPAX, again, he was just able to build more and mine more and scout this out and kill off all the Stalkers, and this is not working out for Astrea. He played such a masterful game one. It really was a fantastic mid game. I talked about this again in Cure. In the game with Cure, he is so good at coming back and playing in the late game. So he instead decides, yeah, I'm going to go play in the early game. I'm going to proxy my opponent 2 times in a row, and I'm going to lose 2 times in a row. He didn't decide to lose, but that is the end result of things. And then we have a GG. MAXPAX, he's on tournament point. 2 probes out on the map for MAXPAX in this game. He's got a cannon rush. You know, they say win behind Dark Shrine, win ahead. Cannon rush. It doesn't rhyme, but it is accurate. And MAXPAX is actually a surprisingly good cannon rush player. He does it to Geralt all the time, and he makes his life miserable. And there we go. He's got the wall going down. This is actually so hard to deal with. Glittering Ashes is actually a fairly good cannon rush map, specifically for the spot behind the mineral line. But it feels like Astrea kind of thinks that this is a fake. He's expanding to the natural. Well, I guess maybe there's the argument. You expand to the natural and you say, well, okay, fine. I'll give up my main base. Do we have a cannon rush on the bottom side? Looks like that answer is no, but MAXPAX kills a probe with his probe, which is not the way you want to go. And there is a gateway coming on down to the main base here. MAXPAX says, okay, well, if you just want to give this base up and mine from the natural, well, I will turn it into an assault point. I will own the high ground. I will make life hard for you here. Cannons are going to go down. Probes are getting pulled, but it was too little too late. Feels like, I don't know, Astrea didn't give it the credence it needed. So now, sure, the cannon's out of shields, but it does a lot of damage. Probes going down, and that is that. Astrea, though, he is, of course, mining from the natural, or he will eventually be mining from the natural. But MAXPAX, he has a Zealot on the... Well, actually, no, the gateway's not done. This is a Zealot on the way from his side of the map here, preparing for any sort of counterpunch from Astrea. But at this point, there's a cannon in Astrea's mineral line that he cannot touch. The gateway is done. Cybercore halfway done here for MAXPAX, so eventually it will be Adepts or Stalkers from the high ground. This is going to be a dead base from Astrea, and he says, I just need to try to find some way to mine from the natural and move from there. That's a hard sell. 450 minerals is how much a base costs. Already, Astrea has lost workers. But maybe if, okay, actually Adept was made in the main base of MAXPAX. It's going to be Zealot running on down. But because the high ground is, MAXPAX is here, it actually is rather difficult for Astrea to punch on up. We're seeing the cannons start to kill the Nexus. We have one Stalker done. And the Zealot from Astrea, or the Zealot from MAXPAX, doesn't really find too much value. Cannons are going to go down, but a probe will die, so we don't really have much of anything else happening here. MAXPAX maybe getting a little bit too aggressive with his cannons. Maybe should have slow pushed that a little bit more. As the probes pull here, they will be able to deal with the Zealot. In fact, the Zealot doesn't get anything. And, let's see. Where are we at? So now Adept is going to find his way on in. gonna recall backwards. A worker dies. Probe's getting pulled. And the Stalkers can't really get within range of this cannon too easily. The lack of a probe is annoying because it means there can be no shield batteries. As Adepts continue to shade on in, finding more and more workers. 3 workers will pay that iron price. It will be 4. Adept stays alive. And this is where we see Astrea start to get punished a little bit. Just a little bit, but he is getting, again, somewhat punished here. Because he has assaults coming on in from 2 sides. Adepts in the main base that rally on into the natural. Adepts from MAXPAX's main base that rally into the natural as well. So now Adepts behind the mineral line. 5 more workers go down. Astrea, he's getting punished. So many of these probes are insanely low, exceedingly low, from the fact that the Zealots were there earlier and getting damage done. So, 7 workers have died. Now, Stalker is out on the map. The cannon actually went down, interestingly enough. MAXPAX adding on a 3rd gateway. His warp gate just about done here. The Stalker's actually finding a nice spot where they can shell away at this pylon. And there we go. That should be 1 dead Stalker for 1. But I think this pylon goes down. Or, well, actually, no, because Astrea is targeting down the gateway, not the pylon. Now it's 2 Stalkers to 3, but it's a healthy 2 Stalkers versus a rather weak 3 Stalkers. So MAXPAX actually wins this trade. Or at the very least, he trades evenly enough to keep all of his gateways alive, to keep his pylon alive here. And although MAXPAX doesn't want to take that trade right there. Warp gate is going to be done now, which means we're going to have 3 Stalkers warping on in. The 3rd gateway done for MAXPAX here as well. And that does mean you got to warp in here, MAXPAX. That's the problem. Actually, he's just going to lose that. So the Nexus actually stays alive here. Somehow Astrea making this work. And a 3rd gateway getting added on in. It feels like MAXPAX should have been able to do more of this than he did, but a really masterful hold here from Astrea in this game number 4. And he has 2 Nexus. He can mine back from this main base once again. But okay, now Astrea is going to say, wait a minute. There's a Robo here. There's a 3rd gateway coming on in. MAXPAX is not interested in stabilizing this game, taking it late. No, he's going to try to end this game right here, right now. 2nd pylon to make sure he doesn't get depowered. Robo will be on the way as well. We're going to have fast warp-ins soon enough. Cybercore getting threatened. And Astrea, he's on a single gateway. MAXPAX will have 3 rather soon. And what do we have in terms of shield batteries? It looks like we have 1. Which is nice, and a couple more are on the way. But even still, that's a lot of Stalkers, and more will continue to get warped on in, and the force fields. Oh, we're going to see... MAXPAX, he's looking for that position where the Stalkers run a little bit too far forward out of Astrea's natural. I guess we can call this his main base now, but run a little bit too far forward so he's able to pick one off without shield battery range. And there we go. Stalkers going down. Cybercore is actually the big deal. MAXPAX or Astrea, he's going to need to remake that because Stalkers are what you need. It's not about Zealots. It's not about Adepts. It is about Stalkers here in the Stalker Wars. As MAXPAX trades 1 for 1, he's okay with that. He has more production here. Immortals are on the way. The Robo's not done yet for Astrea. Stalkers, actually, Adepts warp in here because now he's going to force Astrea to take difficult decisions. Does he kill the Stalkers? Or does he deal with the Adepts that are going to move on into his main base? Now, Astrea, of course, he has 2 gateways now. He's a little bit more production. And Immortals are getting chronoed on out. But again, MAXPAX will deny mining from the main base. It's still technically 1 base versus 1 base. Yeah, Astrea's got more workers, but it doesn't really matter if he's only mining off of that single base. Now, Immortals pop out here now, which means Gateway should probably start to fall. Shield batteries, only 2 of them still have energy for now. Probes getting pulled off the mineral line as we start to see workers fall here for Astrea once again. We're going to see the Immortal go down. Good force fields, but actually the Immortal will be able to stay alive. MAXPAX looking to run on forward. His Warp Prism again is going to be faster, so he's going to be able to effectively have Blink in this engagement. And again, we have to give credit for how well Astrea is holding, but a force field is going to be fantastic for MAXPAX. He's going to be able to trade his Immortal, so now he's 1 for 0. He has so much more DPS in this army right now. Shield battery overcharge getting popped once again, but now MAXPAX, he effectively has Blink for small numbers of units, which is really all that he has. Shield battery overcharge, they're going to get popped. Stalker's trying to get on top of the Warp Prism, trying to make the game the save here right now. Warp Prism goes down, Stalkers survive, but 7 probes have died on the back line. MAXPAX, he has the worker lead once again. He's going to get a gateway, so he's now 3 workers to 1. Stalkers are starting to fall. The Warp Prism Micro is not where it needs to be. And now the Warp Prism of Astrea, it's under fire. It's going down. It's dead. MAXPAX, the protracted cannon rush. He is the champion of EPTNA. Number 116, the last off-season EPT Cup.